what you just said.
Okay, I am going to show my screen. Can you see my
All right.
screen?
Go ahead and log into that.
So I just added this. I just added this card here by clicking here and clicking on requests. That opens up all. That opens up everything that's a request in the system.
Light switch.
Right. What I did then was I clicked on the gear, on the Band-Aid tab, and then the gear. Right. That gives me to actually basically it gives me here. Then I click on advanced filter. When I click on advanced filter, I want to create a. I want to add model equals theme, which is theme is bore, and state is not equal to new. That means I didn't add the additional is rejected. So this should be all of the requests, all of the bore requests that have gone through it. So there are 17.
That
So
have or have not been submitted to NOC.
This would be everything that is not new. So if we want to have everything that's not submitted to NOC, we would have an additional nested grouping. We'd put that in there. And we'd say where state is equal to new. It's not equal to new. Yeah, missed that. It's not equal to new. And state is not rejected. So anything that's not new, anything that's not rejected, anything that where state is initial review, because that's Gail's initial review. So everywhere it's not that. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? That initial review. That means it's if it's not brand new, if it's not rejected, and if it's not initial review, that should be everything that's gone through Gail's queues. So that would be equal 17. So let's have a look at this data. So we could also take out the state of draft. There's a couple in that. And then that would be right. That looks right. So let's just also add draft to that filter. And state is not equal to draft. So let's refresh that.
So Rich, are we? I don't know, because from what you're showing us, it looks like a lot has to be done training-wise in regards to filtering on what we want to see in the card.
In general, yes. If you want to create new reports. However, that's why I like to kind of set up a bunch of pre-canned filters that allow you to start to use as a baseline for drilling into the information.
Okay.
And really, they don't take a lot. If you know what you're doing to set them up, and once you're used to setting them up, they don't take a long time to actually set up. So this 1, 2, 3, you can actually filter by that. So I don't know why these two draft ones are still sitting in here. We'll pen that, figure those out in a little bit later. But so we have 2 that are in 3 that are pending solicitation setup. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a bunch of them here that are in maybe about 6 that are in pending analysis.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right, so
that's how you would get to the data.
okay.
And
All right, so we're looking for more of the filtering. I want to make sure we get through the list before time runs out on us.
Agreed. Okay.
Okay, so on the third item, when not assigns people to the board, hold on, our family member is not placeable. Okay, so we know that when not assigned Cheryl or Laquita to the board, that board, does not appear, or that card does not appear in their screen or their board card.
Okay.
Is that something where NOC has to share with them first before they see it in their board cards, or assigning them as a reviewer to that card, should it auto-populate in their board cards?
So the way I set up their board card was really just a simple filter.
Yeah. After you assign it?
Yeah.
Okay, scratch that, because at first you said you
I couldn't do anything with
But
it.
Cheryl couldn't edit. That was the problem.
All
Okay,
I could do was see it.
okay, I'm sorry, scratch that.
Okay.
They were able
remember,
to
I created a board
but they
card,
weren't,
nothing
Cheryl
showed up.
wasn't able to edit it.
And I don't think Jeff could.
Jeff doesn't even have a
And
problem.
Yeah, because I created a board card and nothing showed up.
But NOC had assigned it to him, and you could see that in the board that it was assigned to Jeff. And we were thinking that Linda Bohr's card does not need to be there.
Okay.
Maybe make that a Jeff Bohr card. Oh, yeah.
Whoops, I just deleted it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah, they can see the cards when I assign them, but Cheryl couldn't edit, and then Jeff that didn't have a card assigned to him, when he created one, it didn't put anything.
So to get back to my original list, basically you just create a new dashboard with the same name, and you say this. You say Linda Bohr? Yeah, Linda Bohr. It doesn't need to be here. It should be a Jeff's.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
And then they just need the ability to edit the card once it shows up in there.
All right. So let me just show you how you do that. That's very simple. So its status is Bohr pending analysis, and the type is Bohr. And then when we go here, we just change the assignment to Jeff. Save condition. That's now Jeff's Bohr's. And what we would do now is we would go back to the manage this dashboard, and we would add as a template, and we call it version 4, because that's now the one that has Jeff's Bohr associated with it. So now we can pull that one back down at any time. Okay?
So now, how about them being able to edit when it shows up in there?
So Jeff's, this is landed up in Jeff's queue. I have additional rights, obviously, so I'm seeing all of the stuff.
Okay.
But basically, Jeff should be able to see, edit, delete, whatever are associated with the role that he has. We can check on his user roles by going to the people card.
Mine too.
Okay.
This is Cheryl.
Yeah, Cheryl couldn't edit either.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I can't edit
But I
it.
could not edit.
Okay, so let's have a look. Grants manager.
Like you have a food card, but in order for them to actually edit it, they would have to.
Well, let's try something. I'm going to switch to you as a new. So now I'm logged in as Jeff because it basically impersonated his account. And you don't have edit rights on this. Okay. So then there's something up with the profile that I've given you. I will take a look back and make sure that those rights are adjusted. And it's associated with, it's got to be associated with this grants manager role. So I'll figure out, or it might be associated with the grants associate role.
Yeah, right. So the same thing for
Cheryl?
If you maybe look at Laquita's setup, ours should be like hers, I think.
Okay.
She had access to edit.
But we can, I guess as long as you can address that.
Yeah, we don't have
You
to
don't need to do it
fix
right now.
Okay, I will, and now I'm logged in as Jeff, so.
Yeah, it won't get you very far.
Apparently. By
All right.
design. Okay.
Quick question. So moving on. When not assigned an assignee for reviewing a board or reviewing a card, does he receive like a read receipt in some form or fashion to know that something's been reviewed? So if he says, I need Cheryl to review this by the 21st, is there any indicator that Cheryl actually reviewed it? She may or may not have any comments.
Can I just say, Richard,
yeah.
Usually when I'm reviewing something, I'm going to be putting comments in there as I go along, meaning I might say something like, I need to reach out to legal to see if there's any advocacy in this, and then I would, after I had reached out to legal, I might come back and say, legal is good with this, but there's nothing that kind of
allows you to capture the comments and basically say that it's complete.
That my review is complete.
Right.
So that NOC has a way of knowing Cheryl has reviewed this and she's good with it. I'm still waiting on Loran's approval or advancement.
Okay.
And this relates to really the next issue. They're almost tied together. That is, the SPO team needs a way of having some internal back and forth communications during the review, and then capturing that on the cards, or either through email on the cards, whichever way we can do it. How do we, if we want some back and forth, they might have some comments, they send them to me, I might then comment back to them and have some questions for them before I send it on to Gail.
Okay. So you want a back and forth, you want the ability to go back and forth during SPO analysis to
Correct.
Basically in this section of the application. I can certainly put some kind of communication tool in here, and I can also add something in to say when you guys are done with your analysis.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because we were just thinking all we could do is just put a comment, hey, I'm done, as opposed to
Yeah, no, I thought about doing that, but then I was like, okay, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible up front, and figure then when you saw it, you'd say, well, I need this, I need that. That's absolutely fine and valid. So glad to hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you can do that, that's fine. Okay.
All righty. And that was dealing with the comments between the team too, right?
Right.
Okay. One of my questions were in regards to subscribing to the card. When you click on the subscribe to card, is it the whole entire card or is it that individual opportunity?
So when you subscribe to a card from here,
right, is it to the highlighted one?
No, that's going to subscribe to this entire card, right? You can share the card by hitting on the card here. This shares the record. That shares everything in the list.
Okay, so can we have a distinguishing vocabulary here, because we seem like we're using card for everything.
Okay.
So we subscribe to the card. That card in this case means SPO analysis, correct?
That's correct. If you subscribe to this particular card, you're subscribing to this particular record, right? If you're
Okay.
if you're subscribing to this, I'm trying to think how to do this. Okay, so if you can filter a card down to a list. We've got a list of seven records. I want to share this with you. And click here, and I'm going to share this with Tony, and that's going to be, he's going to get a list of those 7 records.
Okay.
If I were to go into this individual record and share that with Aquita.
See, that's where I get confused. Because when you share that individual record, it still says share card.
Because okay, so it's I agree. It's looking at that individual record as an individual card rather than this list.
So when the card is broken out like this, then you can share that specific record within the card.
So this, when you share it this way, it's really you're sharing this list, right? You're sharing a list. You're sharing a list of cards. So it should say share these cards.
Right. I think that would make more sense.
Unfortunately, this is a component, and there's no configuration I have over this.
Okay. Hopefully, can we put that as a suggestion?
I can put that as a suggestion to Flux. Yeah, it's a good one.
All right. So, training-wise, if you click on the envelope to subscribe to the card, you're subscribing to the deck.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're on an individual record, you're subscribing to that card.
Right.
Say it that way.
Okay. Yeah. Okie doke. And the last one, the card notification header, I wasn't sure if this is a component as well. When we create, for example, a board, we get the auto-generated board ID number, the amount, opportunity, and proposal date. Is there any way that we can change? Is that editable? Can we change those?
So let's have a look. I want to make sure I'm looking at exactly what you're seeing. So we're talking about the same thing. Okay, so I just generated a new board. Which pieces do you want to change?
No, not actually on the new board. So if you were to go to the card.
The notifications of the new board.
Yeah.
Maybe the initial, just create a new board, go to initial.
Or no, go to the new board card.
Go to the new board card. Go to this card.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't do anything else.
All right. The only like what we're looking at there, we're looking at the record, and in the records you have board ID R1604. Yes, those lines. Are we able to change those?
Absolutely.
Okay. So from what I need from you guys is what you want. Is there a line limitation to what we can put?
There kind of is, because there isn't. If you have too many lines here, it'll clog up this list box, right? So you want to basically keep it to 4, maybe 5 single lines, right? So this one, see how this opportunity title wraps onto 2 lines, and so now this that gets a little bit wider. You don't want this to be too long. So opportunity title actually might not, depending on what your titles are, it might not be the right data element to go in this. I was just thinking that these were the.
Can we limit the characters for the opportunity title? Because that is kind of important to have in there, I think.
Okay. You can. I think it's really just a training issue on your side, because there may be an opportunity that has a specific long name. And so maybe there's a opportunity short title that you want to use for this list, and the opportunity full title may be something that you want to use on the actually inside the application. So like here, title, wherever the title is, in here somewhere. Where did I put it?
Actually, I think it's the concept name. It's called concept name.
Yep. It's called concept name.
So if
Um,
there's just a limitation we can put on that, then that would make it easier.
if I make it a rich text field, actually, I think I can limit the characters. Do you want to have two titles though, a short title and a long title, just in case? If it's a short title, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make any difference. But if it's a longer title, like a CDC uh, grant program name that doesn't really have a short title, and you have to kind of somehow redact the title to fit, you may still want the full title later on. Is my point.
Well, and I'm okay with them putting that in the concept. Down further, there's a block to describe what the project is doing. I can't remember what it's called.
The concept information. I think it's this one.
Maybe so, and that's a bigger block of information where they could put the full title, I think.
Right. Well, I was sort of thinking that this would be like the program synopsis from the RFP. But if you want, I mean,
I think there's an opportunity description field somewhere too. If you go down a little bit further, there's opportunity description, and that is a fairly large field, I believe.
We probably didn't put much in there.
Okay.
So you're saying we can edit those 4 lines, so even replace like that bore ID, which I guess is a flux number, replace it with our internal bore number?
Yeah, so this number here, we can replace this with this number here, no problem.
Okay.
Just know that if you don't add one in, then you'll obviously have a blank over here. But
that system-generated bore ID number, the R1604, where does that show up on the individual bore card?
On this card,
Yeah.
it doesn't at this point. But eventually, when it turns over and we start looking at it as an award, right? That's the number that the systems will reference.
Gotcha.
So it's a system-generated number, and that's how we'll be tying it back together later on. But for the time, in terms of moving through the overall process, we can certainly make this bore ID your internal bore ID, and one of the other things we need to do on the bore is really define which fields are required outside of the flux required fields, because so bore ID might be one of the ones that it's actually a required field.
Let me make sure this is Gail, let me make sure I understand something. The thing that you're on now that says initiation, that is the content that I or somebody working with me will be filling out, right? Because we've decided that isn't going to be auto-generated. So we're creating that. What creates the new bore, like the thing on the left?
This number is a system-generated ID for this record. Right.
So the record itself is created by somebody who hits submit.
No, Gail, no. What we determined was that you were going to initiate the generation of the bore. We can certainly change it, but we talked about you generating the bore. You're initiating this bore. Will automatically generate that number, right? That number doesn't.
Wait. So when you say I will be generating the bore, you're saying I'll be in this pipeline page and entering data here, right?
Yes.
So I'll be putting in the bore ID number, concept name, primary concept. I'll be doing all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
the basic
Then-
information, and then you'll push it on to NOC.
Right. And once I hit submit, that's pushing it on the knock, right?
Yes.
No, actually, it doesn't do that.
Oh, it puts it onto initial review. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she basically sent it to herself.
Well,
Basically.
Probably doing this step. And
Yeah, Karen can do it. Okay. So now we're in the D. So just let me understand this. So we started on the pipeline, and let's say Carrie filled out that form, and now the DM initial review is sitting in my space. Did this thing that we're looking at now, don't move. Yeah, the green card. Was that all generated as a result of what was put onto the pipeline initiation form?
Yes, this was all generated based on when it was in this card over here, when it was in this state.
So, for instance, when in this state, the pipeline state, it says bore ID 00001, theoretically that should just populate into the card as 00001, right? Instead of R-1604.
So what I will do is this is a code generated number, and this is pulling that code back to this field, or this representation on the form, right? Or this list item.
Right.
I will change it to pull your bore ID back to this field.
Okay.
So you'll just see bore number 00001. That number will be still generated. It will sit somewhere else. You won't see it until you need it further on down the line.
Well, I'm not sure we're ever going to need it, I guess is
The only reason that you would probably need it is when you start looking for reporting to tie back to the original records.
Yeah, that's what concerns me. So if that's the case, we still won't have a way to tie the board. We may not be able to continue to use our board numbering system for this then, because the whole point was to have it to be able to tie from the bore through everything after. And if that ID number, I'm not sure how anybody would know bore 00001 is actually bore ID R-1604-00718.
So when you end up, so this number basically ends up being a database key between one set of records and another, right? So when this gets into an awarded state down here,
yeah,
that number is, I mean, it's still physically the same record in the system. And see, this is just a CHI dash blah. That's an automatic generated number, right? The bore ID for this would still be sitting on the same card in the same location. Still be sitting right here. So if you did a search for this on this record for a bore, you'd pull up this record. It would still be sitting here. Bore ID number, blah 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 blah. That's still a field in the system in that record. It would also have this award number on top.
Okay.
But it would be, Richard, what you're saying is the bore ID in that particular card in that state would read 0001.
Right.
That's what you're looking for, right?
This bore number is not going to change from a request to a grant. It's just the number that you've assigned.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. That's right, Ken. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. And that
Tony, was that? It looks like we're at the end of the list, but there was a bore picture at the end. Was that just referencing the text description above?
The list. That was the list. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the question is right. Could she put the
right, especially if it's an expedited review.
right? But we talked about that
Okay, so I think a lot of our questions were answered. Is there anything else in regards to the testing that we discovered that we missed off this list?
Well, one of the things we were just talking about is on that initial bore pipeline card, two things. One, whether or not there's a space to signify that this is maybe an expedited review.
Yes. Is there any way that we can prioritize requests that come in or have a notification that something needs to be reviewed ASAP? Like maybe an exclamation mark or different
Or
color?
if we can change that proposal date to maybe something like
No.
for approval
Or bore,
due date or something.
or bore reviews,
Due date.
due date. Or
Well, that may still not work, because what we're looking for is some way to move a bore above other bores. And so, even if you have one that's got an early due date, it may be that, okay, wait a minute, this is a hot button, we need to get this one done before this other one.
Okay.
Richard, can we have them show up on the card in due date order?
We can certainly filter the card or sort the card in due date order, and that's a fairly simple sort order on the filter, right? So you just go here, add a sort order by due date. But it sounds to me like you need something else as well, and that is an expedited priority status. So if something has a flag on it that needs to be expedited, I don't know if you want priority within your expedited process, but we can just give me the flags. I can put a drop down list, or I can put a checklist in there as for or a set of radio buttons. It's expedited, priority 1 through 5 or something like that, and then you determine what those priority or expedited time frames really are. I can certainly add that. We can play around with it and see what works for you. Do you want me to add that in this SPO analysis area? Kind of like in this disposition control area, Knock?
I think it's something that Gail will probably set.
Okay. So
I don't know that we would want. I think what you were saying is 1 through 5. I think we would want just should this be expedited or not. I don't know that you'd want to get into ranking these among that all under that category, if that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah. Well, if it's just an expedited flag, I can certainly give you an expedited flag and a date, right? And say expedited, get it done by this date. And then that date sort of filters into the target bore consideration date that Knock's kind of assessing right here.
Yeah, I think that could work.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the last question I have in the few minutes we have left, sort of related to this, but I'm trying to think through the whole email piece and how that works,
Okay.
both from a notification perspective as well as the ability to email outside the system and then have somebody respond and have that come back into the system.
Okay. So there's two different things kind of going on, right? There are automatic emails that are being sent, and they're actually kind of currently going to Tony and myself, and I received a bunch of them from you guys testing. Okay.
I haven't gotten any. I think you might have spelled my name wrong.
I'm sorry. I might have spelled everybody's name wrong. I was doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I will absolutely make all adjustments in there. But so there's the automatic messages that go out, right? And they go out based on workflow state.
Right.
And so we basically set up a letter, however you want that structured, or with whatever details from the card, whether it's the bore ID or the title or any of these compliance checks or whatever you want in it. We can accommodate that. And then that will be sent based on when you click one of these buttons, right? The other way to do that is to send a bulk update email. I hit the wrong one. This is bulk update, right? This organizational. So you can bulk update, send email alert, right? So you can send any one of these email alerts. These are the same emails that are going out based on workflow stages. But if you send this alert from this card, it's going to send it to everybody that's on this card, right? Or everybody that's in that card based on the email parameters that are there. The third thing that we've started to talk about, but still waiting back from IT, either an email address and like the POP3 credentials to set it up in the system, is the ability to send emails directly from within this specific record. That will be sent outside of the system. Basically what it will do is you'll click on the button. It's actually an email button. It's a component that looks a little like this with an email over here. You click on the email button. It loads in your local email client. It puts something in the to button, the to address, which is a system address. And it also adds a reference ID in the body of the email. When you send it to somebody, that email goes out, they respond back to it. It's responding back to the Flux system. The Flux system's taking that preloaded information as a key to load it back into this record. And it will load it back into this record. It will sit here as a line item that's come back in as a message, and also it will be loaded into the documents card as well. So that's where you'll be able to see the actual email content.
And that's based on the subject line remaining the same.
Right. So we haven't set that up yet. It's there. We're just kind of waiting on some final details for getting the configuration bits in place. So that's kind of, I'm thinking that's one of the next things that I'll be working on.
Okay, appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know how much of that I actually followed, but one thing I know that we will want is when the SPO is finished with their review and they're going to come back to me to say it can be advanced, we're okay with it. Mm-hmm. I don't want that email to go to everybody on the card.
No. So the way, Gail, the way that it's currently set up is it's based on an individual workflow action from perfect. NOC, right? So when it's in his, NOC's ready to send it advanced to proposal consideration. That's coming back to you. When he clicks on that button, it's going to send an email to you that this card is ready for consideration.
Okay, great. Okay, very good.
Okay, I was just showing you that there were other ways to evoke the same list of emails, and it's not I don't like doing it that way, but sometimes it's necessary.
I gotcha.
Okay.
All right. This happened.
Okay.
So why don't I do this? Why don't I make the modifications that we've discussed, get them back to you I'll try and get them back to you at some point tomorrow or the day after. You guys can take a look at them by the end of the week and say, yeah, that's what we were talking about, or no, we need some additional modifications. And then we can start kind of moving into the next round of modifications and adjustments.
Well, I think they still want to do a walkthrough. So after you send the modifications and review, can we plan to schedule a walkthrough for maybe Monday?
Sure.
Is that Ken typing? I can always tell when Ken is typing.
I'm sorry, guys. Yep, that's me. I thought I had muted, but I did not, and I was just typing the notes up. Kanita, this meeting was great. It actually, in my Sprint 4 plan, was scheduled for tomorrow. So you actually superseded that, which was perfect. And what I thought we could potentially do was at least take a look. Maybe this is between you and I don't know. Take a look at the Sprint 4 plan, which includes this modification schedule, and kind of a review and a tweaking of the grant seeking process that we just went through, and we can kind of go from there. So,
yeah, I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves without getting this grant seeking underway. So you and I can look at it, and then we'll schedule another meeting for the Sprint 4 planning and to review any additional modifications with the team.
yeah, it's perfect. I think that's a good approach to it then too. Good. Why don't you, I will be free tomorrow. Just send me an invite. Maybe we can talk a little bit tomorrow, and once you get an idea of what your calendar looks like, and we can set that up.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to y'all later. Thank you.
Bye.